Okay, so let's start with Jaden Smith and After Earth, 2013. You see, people forget that Jaden Smith was kind of a big deal back then, especially if you were a young girl. Jaden already had a reasonably strong commercial track record and was very quickly gaining momentum, largely after starring in The Karate Kid made in 2010, which made almost $360 million worldwide on a $40 million budget. A role that earned him a lot of praise and critical acclaim alongside Jackie Chan. And then there was his hit duet with Justin Bieber, Never Say Never, a 5-time platinum certified song that was one of the first ever music videos to hit 1 billion views on YouTube. Let's also not forget that a few years earlier, in 2006, Jaden was in The Pursuit of Happiness alongside his father, a movie which was both a commercial and critical success. The film grossed $307 million on a $55 million budget. And all of this helped make Sony Pictures feel comfortable investing $130 million into After Earth, with Jaden as the lead. Especially given that he'd be supported by his father, who was an even bigger box office draw at the time. But After Earth was a huge and monumental disappointment. The movie only pulled in around $243 million on a $130 million budget. So it may have just about broken even after you account for all the, extra marketing costs. But it's widely considered to be a flop because almost everyone hated the film. Everything from the story to the acting fell flat. And it quickly became a movie that people just loved to hate. The overwhelmingly negative reaction made the major studios doubt Jaden's ability to carry a blockbuster as a lead. And you know what? He hasn't been in a major blockbuster movie ever since. Sophie Turner Dark Phoenix, 2019. So, after becoming famous for playing Sansa Stark on Game of Thrones, Sophie Turner was ready to take on a lead role in a major blockbuster movie. Dark Phoenix was supposed to be her big breakout role, and this film was her first chance to headline a major franchise. Dark Phoenix follows Jean Grey, one of the original X-Men, as she struggles to control the immense Phoenix Force within her. On paper, this looked like it was going to be a massive success. Because Jean Grey is a fan-favorite character from the comics, and Sophie Turner was riding high from a successful role in the hit TV series Game of Thrones. But despite some incredible performances, notably from Michael Fassbender, the film ended up face-planting. It only made $252 million on a $200 million budget. So, while it wasn't a total commercial loss, on paper at least, audiences hated it. The story was messy and the tone was all over the place. Fans just couldn't connect with this movie. The staggering amount of negative feedback meant that Sophie's status as the lead actor in a major movie became questionable, and her shot at headlining other major blockbusters got put on hold. So, I'm going to skip a lot of the obvious career-destroying movies that have been discussed to death over many years, because most people are already familiar with the examples. Like John Travolta, who I would argue took decades to recover from the Battlefield Earth fiasco. Taylor Kitsch after John Carter 2012. And Elizabeth Berkley, who never led another major Hollywood blockbuster after Showgirls. Something which I discussed at length on another video. Link is in the description box. Instead, I want to focus on the career-derailing movies that are not as widely discussed, like Dane DeHaan in Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets 2017. Here's the thing. Dane was seen as a rising talent in Hollywood after gaining recognition for his roles in Chronicle and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets was his opportunity to lead a major sci-fi blockbuster. The film had a production budget of approximately $177 million and grossed around $226 million worldwide. However, the problem with the movie wasn't its box office performance. It was the total lack of buzz, and the fact that most of the audience left the theater feeling completely indifferent. The lukewarm reception and box office underperformance meant DeHaan's shot at leading blockbuster roles never really took off. He's since mostly taken on more TV shows and smaller supporting roles, with his biggest role being in the 2020 TV series 000, where he plays a supporting lead. And it turns out that Dane DeHaan's career history perfectly followed a familiar Hollywood arc, a career path that has been repeated over and over and over and over again. For example, Taylor Lautner, who was hot off the mega success of the Twilight Saga, he was given the lead role in Abduction 2011. But an $82 million gross on a $35 million budget fell far short of expectations, and it was a wake-up call that his Twilight fame would not automatically translate into future box office success. And the lukewarm reception suggested that he could not carry a major blockbuster movie by himself. He hasn't been given a similar opportunity since. Then there's Charlie Hunnam, who played the lead role in the 2017 film King Arthur: Legend of the Sword. The film only grossed $149 million worldwide on a $175 million budget. But when you factor in an estimated $135 million spent on marketing, the total loss was around $160 million. This stalled his rise as a blockbuster movie leading actor, although he did somewhat make a comeback in 2022 with the movie Last Looks. However, that film grossed less than $500,000 at the worldwide box office. I couldn't find any information about its budget, but with a cast that includes Mel Gibson and Morena Baccarin, yeah, I'm pretty sure the budget was a lot more than $500,000. So yeah, that comeback movie was definitely a flop. Now, we have to discuss Batman and Robin 1997, because this movie didn't just destroy and derail the career of one actor. Oh no, this movie outperformed itself in career destruction and took down at least two. While the movie grossed $238 million worldwide against a production budget of $125 million, it was considered to be a huge disappointment, especially given the high expectations set by its predecessor, Batman Forever in 1995, which had a budget of $100 million but grossed more than 3 times that at the worldwide box office with $336.5 million. But the film's terrible reputation wasn't because of the commercial disappointment. No, the 1997 Batman and Robin movie has become infamous for its poor writing, over-the-top performances, and cringy dialogue. It is generally considered to be one of the worst Batman movies of all time. But here's the real tragedy. The people that suffered the most from the movie's failure were Alicia Silverstone and Chris O'Donnell, both of which were rising stars at the time and taking on their first major superhero blockbuster role. And this looked like it would be the perfect project to set them up for an amazing breakout Hollywood career. While some of the other leads like George Clooney, Uma Thurman, and Schwarzenegger had a longer Hollywood blockbuster success track record to fall back on when this movie bombed, both Silverstone and O'Donnell lacked the same level of Hollywood clout to soften the blow, and neither of them ever fully recovered. Alicia went on to play a leading role opposite Brendan Fraser in Blast from the Past, but that only did $40 million on a $35 million budget. And Chris's 1999 movie The Bachelor only grossed $37 million against a $51 million budget. They have both since worked on more TV shows and smaller supporting roles.